From Fleetwood Town to Bangalore, let's speak to our next guest, Simon Grayson. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, mate. All good, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, very good, thanks. Obviously, I'm not as busy as, well, I say not as busy as you. I'm always busy. But go on, you sort of, well, Simon Grayson, he's become is it the Bengaluru or the Bangalore manager? How do you describe it?
It depends. Certain people mention Bangalore, but it's Bengaluru.
Bengaluru.
Yeah, based in Bangalore as it is in the past. A lot of the cities now in India have two names based on of history in the past or modern day names. So we're Bengaluru FC.
How did you end up there?
I've been exploring different options, to be fair, working abroad. 2 years ago, I went to Mumbai to meet Martin Bain, who's got a high-ranking role in the Indian football industry, who's my CEO at Sunderland, and we've stayed in touch. And then the pandemic came around, and I'd quite enjoyed looking around Mumbai and places like that for 10 days. Then the pandemic came around, and when I left Fleetwood, I had a few opportunities to stay in England, but I just wanted to do something different and grasp an opportunity and have a life experience as well. Test myself coaching as well to different players, different methods that you have to use. And I had two opportunities. I turned one job down and decided to take the Bengaluru one, and been in India for 9 weeks now.
And you've won the Durand Cup for the first time in the club's history. It's been a fantastic start. We'll talk about the football in a second. What's the whole experience been like for you?
Well, it's been weird in a way because it's the longest pre-season that I've ever had to do. I think I've been in Bangalore for 2 or 3 days when I landed. Then we went out to a place called Bellary, where there's the JSW group, who own our football club, own a sports institute where Olympic athletes go. And we were in a camp there for 3 weeks training, back to Bangalore for a day. Then we flew to Calcutta for 5 weeks for this tournament. So I haven't really had too much of an experience of life outside of a hotel or a training camp in the 9 weeks that I've been there. But overall, people have been fantastic, really receptacle to everything that you do, and so pleasing to work with. And 9 weeks is... Some parts of it has dragged a little bit. Sometimes it's gone very quickly, but it's been great to sort of be in a place where you really feel like you're really appreciated in everything that you're doing.
You beat Mumbai FC 2-1 in the Durand Cup final. You had a great run through. Is football football? Is football coaching the same the world over, or is it been a different experience with Bengaluru?
It's a bit of both, mate, to be fair. Look, everybody knows that there's the rules of football is worldwide, and it's the same sort of habits that you have. I think from my coaching perspective, you have to change your ideas, your philosophies and your coaching style at times. Because of the communication, most of our players speak English, some through broken English who are Spanish, a couple of Brazilians. We have one lad from Congo, but most of the Indian lads speak quite a lot of English. But still, when I get into my Yorkshire twang, I don't think too often that sometimes they don't realise what I'm talking about. So that's part of the first part of it. And then you've got to realise that the players are different to the ones in the UK at times, and they've got some good points and bad points to them. But the biggest factor really has been the heat and the humidity. We train at 8:30 in the morning, and it's something like 30, 33 degrees with 80 to 90% humidity. And you have to mellow the sessions down. If you're doing some particular session in England that might be for 4 minutes per session, you might have to break that down to 2 minutes. Not that the players are unfit, but it's just the humidity makes it so difficult. But that's a part and parcel of why I went out, to change my sort of coaching ideas and learn from this experience, which having to do every day. But again, it's a great experience.
What's the standard like?
I think we've got some decent players. You're allowed 6 foreigners, and as I mentioned, we've got a couple of Brazilians, a lad from Congo, Spanish, Fiji international, a lad from Australia. So they're the best players. But at Bengaluru, where we have Sunil Chedri, who's the leading all-time goal scorer in Indian football. I think he's 4th in the world's history of number of goals, and he's 37, 38, and fantastic role model for our younger players. I think we've got 5 players away in the international group that have gone away for their fixtures this weekend and for the next 10 days. So we feel that it's a decent standard, and they're trying to improve all the time, right the way through the country. The grassroots is not ideal as it stands, but they're trying to work towards it. But yeah, it's decent. I'm quite pleasantly surprised by it.
For people who don't know, I guess in India, Sunil Chetri's a cross between Messi and Ronaldo, isn't he? He's the beacon, or has been for a generation, if you like.
Well, he is. He's unbelievable. He is the king of India without there being a king of India. He cannot go anywhere. You talk about the cricketers being of this high prestige icons, and he's up there with them, and people will not know him. If you threw that name in England, people will not have an idea who he was. But in India, he is a god, a prince, a king, whatever word you want to describe. But what he is a real fantastic bloke and person. He's a role model for the younger players. He's 38 and he's training as if he was 19. He appreciates that the end of his career is coming to an end very soon. And this was the only trophy, the Durant Cup, that he hadn't won. So it was fantastic for us to be able to win it for the first time, and for him as well. So brilliant role model and somebody I really love working with.
It couldn't have started any better for you. I mean, Chetri was involved, I think, with the winning goal. But for you personally, to sort of bounce into India and go, win the Durand Cup for the first time in the club's history, I mean, what kind of reception did you get?
Yeah, it's been brilliant, from the owners to all the players and the backroom staff. You know what I mean? They've had a tough 2 years because of the pandemic. They've not had supporters inside the grounds, and that's going to be a massive thing when the season starts. And to win a trophy straight away is great. Like, we know we've got a lot of work to do, but the pre-season tournament, as you mentioned, the Durand Cup is the 3rd oldest competition in world football, and that shows how far it goes back. 130 years, I think it is.
It is, yeah.
So for us to go there and win it was great. What it did was it allowed me to go with the strongest squad that I had, to get to know the players quickly, to give me to learn about all my players. And hopefully it will stand us in good stead for the start of the season. And hopefully everybody doesn't realise that this management lark's easy, that you only have to turn up and win a trophy, because I know there's going to be a few bumps in the road along the way.
I guess it's the ISL coming up. When does it start? I mean, how big is it? I mean, we follow it obviously across the world now. I mean, is that the tournament? Is that the one that everybody's talking about, everybody's gearing to?
Yeah, it's the league season. Look, as I said, we've had 8 weeks of pre-season, and the season starts 8th of October. And so that's 11 weeks pre-season, which is a long time. But we're in a good place with what we're doing. And what they do is every game is televised over the one particular weekend, and the season runs through the TV rights until the IPL starts. So it's trying to bring the profile up of the game and decent standard. The one big thing that's going to happen this year is there's going to be like a lot of supporters, like released animals out of the cages. They've not seen football and they're going to be into the ground. And there is going to be ranging from 20 to 80,000 inside the grounds in India, depending on who you're playing. And that is going to be the one great experience to deal with, instead of maybe being in England, where in League One you maybe 5 to 15,000 sometimes. So that is going to be something that I'm really looking forward to, and seeing different parts of India and the different cultures and the different stadiums and cities that you visited.
I mean, your brother Paul is cricket coach. I guess India is still cricket. You love your cricket as well. What kind of, say in the Premier League, you're doing press conferences, the media is very heavily on a coach. What's it like for you in terms of the press and the interest in you?
Yeah, look, we've done a few press interviews with this cup, which has been okay. It's nothing major, to be fair. I'm sure once the season starts, there'll be a lot more. And you like any time, no matter where you are in the world, whatever football club you're scrutinised by your performances, your decisions, your results that you get. So it's no different from being in England or in India, and you deal with that. Look, I've been in the game long enough to understand good and bad is said about you, and you just accept what goes along. But yeah, it's been a good 9 weeks of both on and off the pitch in many respects.
Can you believe you're there? Can you believe what you've just done in 9 weeks? Does it seem? I mean, you've come back to England now just for a week's break. Does it seem like it's a dream?
Well, I suppose the only thing about it is because we've been in a pre-season camp, all we've done is trained and been in a hotel really, and not really had a chance to sample sort of even going out for the meals. You know what I mean? We've been eating the same food, so you could have been anywhere in the world in that respect. That you'd seen a hotel and a swimming pool, a training pitch, and things like that. We didn't even have a chance to sunbathe and appreciate the hot weather. It's been probably easier to get a suntan in England if you'd stayed over here, but it's that will all come over the next 8 months of the season when you are sampling the environment, the cultures, the heritage, the history, and do quite a bit of sightseeing. We went to see, when we were in Calcutta, a couple of famous landmarks. Went to Eden Gardens, a cricket ground as well. So that's all to come. Now we've got to get pre-season out of the way. We're not over to be holiday makers. We're here to work, but if we can sample both the delights on and off the pitch, then that'd be fantastic.
Listen, if it's okay, we'll check in with you and say, I don't know, Christmas time or something like that. It's going to be fascinating to see what your take is on the whole football scene, the whole place. We'd love to hear about your experiences as well. In the meantime, best of luck to you. Thanks for joining us, Simon.
Cheers, mate. No worries, anytime.
All the best to you.